I mean, how good are the Buffalo Bills? And what's interesting is coming into the season, my thought on the Bills was, could they be actually like the Panthers from years ago when the Panthers went undefeated with Cam Newton, ended up losing to Atlanta in the regular season. But they had this awesome season. They go to the Super Bowl, lose to the Broncos. But that year, there weren't any elite wide receivers on that team. And I think that's what the Buffalo Bills have this year, to where Josh Allen can just be Josh Allen. He doesn't have to worry about Stefon Diggs, yapping and saying, hey, get me the ball, or any other receiver for that matter. But he can find Shakir. He can find Keon Coleman. He can find Dalton Kincaid. James Cook running the ball well. He missed that big catch, but he had a great game. Even I think Ray Davis scored at the end. So the Bills are fantastic, and I love it that they have, at one point he threw to 10, 11 different guys. That allows them to thrive. So as we sit here today, the Bills are Super Bowl contenders. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a Bills fan and going into last night's game, and he goes, I don't know if we're a Super Bowl contender. I think they are. The Chiefs are still the team to beat. We know that. They're not playing well. They're still winning. They get all the calls. Things continue to line up well for them, right? So the Chiefs are still the team. But Buffalo's right there. And finally, we see Baltimore. Baltimore gets the win. I'll talk more about them in a little bit. But those are my teams in the AFC that I've still had the most confidence in after 3 weeks. In the NFC, it is absolutely wide open. It is a weird conference. I think there are major concerns for the Eagles, even though they won. I watched a lot of that game, and it was ugly. And they squeaked that one out. I haven't been real high on the Saints, and so they finally woke up, came to life a little bit, or came to reality maybe. And then the team that we have to give some love to, and I talked about it last week, the teams that we're most jealous of, the Packers. Are you kidding me? Malik Willis played even better this week. So to me, the Packers are right there in the NFC as a Super Bowl contender. I mean, how crazy is that? I don't know if we thought that going in. And I've never been this big Matt LaFleur guy, but he is a wonderful coach. I mean, what he's been able to do when Jordan Love is out there and now Malik Willis, they just keep winning. And so I like their young running back, Emmanuel Wilson. I'll be talking about that on the Fantasy Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that Fantasy Football Fellowship Podcast. But the Packers are right there. And then, Detroit, they're like the Chiefs, where they have not even hit their stride yet they're still winning games. Detroit's 2-1. They're going to be fine. They to me are the team that should represent the NFC this year in the Super Bowl after 3 weeks. That's how I feel. A lot can change, but I think the Eagles are in trouble, and I also think the 49ers are in trouble. The injuries are piling up. The way that they lost that game to the Rams, unacceptable. CMC's looking to figure out what's going on with his Achilles. We're not getting any indication that he's coming back sooner than later. It's definitely on the later side. And I know Jordan Mason's filled in nicely, but I think they're in trouble. And then last night, Monday Night Football, we watched Jacksonville. I mean, that was pathetic. I mean, I watched a couple tough weeks of the Panthers football. That was right up there. I mean, that was awful for Monday Night Football. And I'm disappointed because I thought this team was going to be much better this year. I like Trevor Lawrence. I want him to play well, but he might need to take a breather. I mean, they've lost like eight of their last 9 games going back to last year. They're 0-3. Rough start for the Jags. So, that was interesting. But that was fun to watch. Washington, they're legit. They're a team that's going to be right there, kind of in the mix, maybe in the playoff hunt this year, taking a big step with Jaden Daniels, and the coaching staff they put together really, really solid, brings them, I just think some stability. They're a legit NFL team, a little bit better run these days. So good for them. I mean, I loved Ron Rivera, don't get me wrong, but things toward the end, it was just kind of the ownership change, all that kind of stuff. So now it's cleaned up a little bit, I think, in Washington.